Hi, my name is Summer Young, and I will be discussing the critical thinking case called Questionable Motives. It is in Chapter 7 of our Business Ethics Now chapter book, and it begins on page 155. So, in relation to the lessons that we've been going over this semester, this particular case, it involves whistleblowing, more specifically whistleblowing in a bank institution. So this case involves a gentleman named Bradley Birkenfeld, and Bradley was a American born citizen that moved to Geneva to further his banking career. And he decided to join a Swiss bank called UBS as a personal banker, and he was a personal banker to wealthy American clientele. In that, he became, a mid-level bank executive. So his position required concierge work, maintaining the relationship with the customer. Sometimes he would be in the room with, very important people. It was he had a very dynamic situation. And in the book, in the actual case, it explains several examples of what specifically he was requested to do by his clientele. And I'll go ahead and list those. So the first example was one of his clientele requested that he smuggle diamonds from Switzerland to the United States in a tube of toothpaste. And the diamonds were actually purchased in Geneva, and he wanted Bradley to take the diamonds in the tube of toothpaste over United States soil and have them in the United States. Another example was he would take fake vacations frequently, and during the vacation, he would basically just entertain his clientele. They would do things on a yacht, just kind of keep the morale with his current clientele, and then that would give him the opportunity, or give his subordinates the opportunity to mingle with new clientele, maybe friends of his current customers or current clientele, mingle with them, tell them what the UBS is about, and try to gain more contacts for the bank. So in doing so, Bradley felt it was necessary to expose Swiss banking practices. Now, from reading the case, I really can't decipher whether Bradley did this out of personal vendetta, wanting monetary, contribution from it, or if you genuinely thought that these practices that he was involved in were unethical and he wanted to bring it to light because they needed to be turned around. They needed to become ethical. So he decided to blow the whistle to the United States, and it led to the case becoming the largest tax fraud case in financial banking industry. So the reason why I think it was the largest case ever is because Bradley took very lengthy measures to expose UBS. And I think the reason why he was able to do so is because of his position. He, like I said, mingled with high executives. He did concierge work. Like, he had the people around him that needed to be around him to have those important conversations, and those, discussing things that probably shouldn't be discussed with people on the outside. So he worked with the United States government, and he agreed to wear a wire transmitter to get those conversations recorded. He was also able to retrieve 20,000 American clientele accounts, just documentations stating information regarding the unethical practices. And with that, he was able to bring UBS to justice. So with UBS bringing to justice, they had to face punishment, with the evidence that he was able to provide. And their punishment included publishing or providing the information of 5,000 American account holders with UBS. They had to modify their international banking practices, and they had to pay a hefty $780 million fine. And subsequently, the fine helped settle their case. So UBS is done. In the process of, getting things sorted, Bradley discussed with the United States government that he would like to receive immunity for his actions while being a UBS employee. However, he didn't disclose everything that he had done as a UBS employee, and one of those things that he had done was aid in the efforts of a gentleman named Igor Olenkov, aiding him in tax evasion of $200 million. And he had allegedly provided a specialist to help Igor make offshore accounts for corporations that didn't exist. And it kind of helped hide the money that he was moving around. So Bradley was held accountable for being an accomplice in that. And unfortunately, Igor was offered the opportunity to pay a hefty amount as well of $52 million to kind of settle his case as well. And by doing so, he didn't have to serve any jail time. But Bradley had to face jail time because he pled guilty to being an accomplice to Igor's tax evasion case. And he served about 3.5 years in prison for doing so. In the case, it had mentioned that Birkenfeld felt very upset because he didn't think it was right that he was the only one that faced jail time and not, the UBS bankers or Igor. Essentially, he was the only entity that received punishment for what he did. And I think that he's justified in feeling that way because at the end of the day, yes, all three entities, they all did unethical things. And I don't think that Birkenfeld, being an employee of UBS, should take away anything that he did because at the end of the day, you could always say no. But I do also believe that Igor and the UBS bankers have proven that they have an immense amount of money and funds. And, providing millions of dollars to, make your punishment disappear shouldn't be acceptable for someone that's no problem for. So you've got the UBS bankers and Igor on this side, and you have Bradley on this side that I'm sure doesn't have anywhere close to the amount of money that these other people have, these other entities have. And they get that opportunity and he doesn't because he doesn't have those things. And so for him to face imprisonment, when I really feel like he was the low end of the totem pole of it all, I don't think that's fair. And I feel like he definitely is justified in feeling that that's not right. The case said that kind of questioned, why did UBS settle with the United States? Because they settled with the $780 million fine. And UBS settled with the United States because they didn't want to decrease their market size by losing business in the United States. So if they didn't pay the fine to the United States, I'm sure would have shut anything that they had in the United States down completely, or they would have done something immensely to completely just discourage that particular piece of business. So UBS kind of, tried to figure out what was most important to them. And what was most important was they wanted to continue to be such a large global banking system. And in doing so, they need the United States. So they, picked their battles and they said, well, let's just pay this fine and continue what we're doing in the United States. So it was asked, will whistleblowers feel discouraged to, come forward with their information? And I think absolutely the sentence that Birkenfeld faced for whistleblowing will definitely discourage whistleblowing, because it'll make whistleblowers feel unsecure and unprotected, because not all whistleblowers have the, and they don't have the implication or have the they don't think that they want compensation. That's not their motive. Their motive is, this is unethical and I don't think that this should continue in this job. So if money is not their motive, the imprisonment increases that much more. And if you see someone that might have had, monetary compensation on their mind, he faced 3 years. Okay, that's cool. He's basking in his luxury of his settlement. But if I am just wanting to do it just for the fact that it's unethical, then that's going to make me shy away, because I don't want to face imprisonment. So I just will continue to watch the unethical practices, because I'm not going to face 5 years of prison, for stuff that I've been requested to do. I don't want to lose my job, or, I can't lose my livelihood. So I'm kind of stuck. So that will be the end of my oral presentation. I want to thank you for an awesome semester, and thank you for your time.